my fellow Alaskans. How are you all out there doing today? Hopefully you are having a beautiful, wonderful Veterans Day. And we are here in MatSu, Alaska at the Veterans Memorial, which is about to begin here in about 5 minutes. And hopefully you guys all take a moment right now to please like and share this video. Do appreciate you all being here today for this special day to honor our veterans who are serving, have served, or have sacrificed it all for the freedoms that we all get to enjoy today. Again, thank you for being here again today, and like and share this video so those that are maybe working today or not able to participate, they will be able to at least be able to be here for this honorable ceremony, honoring our veterans who out there who have made sure our freedoms today stay free and are not taken over by tyranny, or as we are putting it in modern day times, the woke society that they seem to be creating for us all. Again, take a moment, like and share this. The ceremony should begin here in just about 5 minutes or so.
Thank you for doing this.
Me too.
It is raining out here. Alright, take a moment again, please like and share this video.
First, there was just this foundation, and the wall got up here, and it took us a couple years to get gone.
See if we can fix some of the sound issues going on here.
So I would say something. Most likely, you have to and then I would just very well might. Put a pour on your overseas.
If you haven't done it yet, please take a moment, like and share this video. All right, darn microphone does not want to connect properly today.
All right, we've got about 4 minutes. If you could find your seats, please.
Let's see if just going to the other microphone helps, just going to it by itself. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear.
So, how's everything going for you?
Quite a good crowd has shown up out here today.
So, I've been wanting, you know how you told me I could mail you a Christmas card? I kind of, I'm not sure if I have your, oh, it's the Juno address.
Lots of static with this microphone. I'm not sure what's going on with it. Let's mess with a different sound setting, see what happens here. Nope, all that did was just quiet things down. Alright, got either microphone or no microphone. Alright, thank you all for being here today. Appreciate you guys liking and sharing this video. We're at the MatSu Valley Memorial here by the police station. And they're about ready to begin here in just a minute. Again, please take a moment, like and share this video so those that can't participate in today's Veterans Day ceremony can be here vicariously through you by your contribution of sharing this video out there today. I am honored to be here. My dad is one of those who sacrificed everything so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we have here today. I always look up to the skies today and thank my dad for his service.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to MatSu Veterans Wall of Honor Veterans Day Ceremony. I'm Ryan McNeely with the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 9365, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies. Please silence or turn off all cellular devices for the duration of our ceremony. Let me introduce just a few veterans for you on our flag detail today. On the Alaska State flag, Ethan Alkelp, accompanied by the Boy Scouts Troop 300. On the greatest flag in the world, Old Glory, Roy Alkelp, accompanied by Wasilla High JROTC. On the POW MIA flag, Jake Nelson, accompanied by Wasilla High JROTC. Now, before we get started, can I get you to join me in showing our thanks to Wasilla High JROTC, Scout Troop 300, and Cub Scouts Pack 360 and 359 for participating in the Veterans Day event by handing out Buddy Poppies programs and manning the flags. Thank you, JROTC Scouts and Scout leaders. Chaplain Hackett, would you please come forward and provide our invocation?
Please uncover. Knowing your victory several faced, please join me as far as your faith will allow. Almighty God, we thank you for the gathering of friends, family, and our fellow men to honor those veterans who have served this country so faithfully with honor for this country's freedoms, security, and for our fellow citizens. We also ask that you bless this wall of honor. Help us to preserve and continue to grow this monument. Protect all those who appear on this wall, who continue to function in our societies and provide comfort to their families and friends of those who are no longer with us. Also, Lord, we ask that you help us each as we continue to do our deeds. We pray they are pleasing to you and they make the places where we reside and the people we come in contact with better. Finally, we ask your blessing and protection for all those who are in harm's way, this great country that we so proudly call home in the United States of America. Amen.
All, please rise, remove all hats, covers, and remain standing while we post the colors, sing the national anthem, and complete the Pledge of Allegiance. As a reminder, veterans are authorized to salute. All others will place their right hand over their heart. Now please join me in the singing of our national anthem. Wait. Where's that? Oh. It's a great honor I was asked to assist in this event and lead us in remembrance in this significant day. Please join me in welcoming some of our distinguished visitors. From Lisa Murkowski's office, Gary Sumter. From Dan Sullivan's office, Chad Padgett. From the office of the governor, Mike Dunleavy, Todd Smolden. Mayor of the MatSu Borough, Edna DeVries. Mayor for the city of Wasilla, Glenda Ledford. Deputy Mayor for the city of Palmer, Pat Malin. From Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson, Colonel Mike Fay. We will introduce and welcome some of our community partners and contributors later in the program. At this time, I'd like to invite J.R. Hackett up here to say a few words about the late Burt Powell.
Hello, I'm J.R. Hackett. I'm the president on the board of directors for the Veterans Wall of Honor. And we'd be very remiss if we didn't take a moment to recognize someone who we recently lost. Burt Powell was a true friend and a primary catalyst for this wall. from where it is today. When he seen we had a problem with where the Wall of Honor was and that we had to have it moved, he jumped in with both feet to ensure we could accomplish the task. When we started the design, none of us on the board were engineers or had any idea of some of the specific requirements for what type this venue would have to hold. So Bert made sure we had expertise. He assigned Archie Giddings of the city planning and engineering to help us and advise us. He went to the city council and asked for a piece of property so we could have a forever location to honor all of our veterans. And when we said that we had talked to councils or organizations for support, but we didn't think they were very receptive, he took it upon himself to address the MatSu Borough, MatSu Health Foundation, private organizations like the Elks, DAV, and others. He assisted with our fundraising event by ensuring we had a location to complete the drawing and a dinner, making the entire event a huge success. I feel very safe in saying if it weren't for Bert Cottle, this Wall of Honor would not be here today. We lost a valued friend, true supporter, and amazing man. Our condolences to the family and those who lost him. Thank you.
Thank you. I will have the reading of the declarations. From the President of the United States, read by Ryan Miller.
Good afternoon. Due to the weather, it will be a condensed proclamation reading. Today, we honor generations of patriots who have earned the title of American Veteran, a badge of courage that unites the finest groups of former service members the world has ever known. With their selfless sacrifice, our armed forces have forged and defended the very idea of America, a promise of freedom and equality, democracy and justice, possibility and hope. We owe them an incredible debt that can never be fully repaid. In every generation, Americans, veterans have been willing to give all for that which we hold sacred: freedom, justice, and democracy. They have served selflessly, sacrificed greatly, and shouldered the burden of freedom quietly, asking no glory for themselves. Today, let us honor them by living up to their example, putting service before self, caring for our neighbors, and working passionately to build a more perfect union worthy of all those who protect our lives and liberty. In respect and recognition of the contributions our veterans and their families, caregivers, and survivors have made to this cause of peace and freedom around the world, the Congress has provided that November 11th of each year shall be set aside as a legal public holiday to honor our nation's veterans. Now, therefore, I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, do hereby proclaim November 11, 2022 as Veterans Day. I encourage all Americans to recognize the valor, courage, and sacrifice of these patriots through appropriate ceremonies and private prayer, and by observing 2 minutes of silence for our nation's veterans. I also call upon federal, state, and local officials to display the flag of the United States and to participate in patriotic activities in their community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand on this 7th day of November in the year of our Lord 2022, and the independence of the United States of America, the 247th.
Please welcome Gary Sumter, representing Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Good morning. Happy Veterans Day. Veterans Day is an opportunity to honor Americans who have answered the call to serve, whether in times of peace or in times of war. We owe so much to those who have sacrificed their safety, their time, and so much more in the name of America's freedom and security. We are so fortunate that so many veterans call Alaska home. They are our friends, our family, our co-workers, and our neighbors. Veterans demonstrate commitment, courage, strength, and perseverance. Today, we honor them for their devotion to duty. We also thank the families of our veterans, as we know their lives have been deeply impacted by the duty of their loved ones. My deepest gratitude goes out to all those who have fought and served honorably. We owe each of them a sincere thank you for the lives that we live today and the freedoms they protect. God bless. Lisa Murkowski, United States Senator.
All right, please welcome Chad Padgett, representing Senator Dan Sullivan.
Good morning. Happy Veterans Day. As I look around out here, I'll get to the proclamation here in a minute, but as I look around, if you take a look, there's a bunch of kids here. Thank you for being here, and for the people that brought the kids, thank you. It's really good to see you. You should clap yourselves. Unfortunately, the senator could not be here with us today. Duties in Washington keep him away, but the good news of that is you get me, so the speech will be like me and really short. So we'll try and get everybody moving here. So one of the things that the senator really wanted to impress upon everybody today is that Alaska has the most veterans per capita of anywhere in our nation. You should be proud of that, and the Valley has participated across the board as veterans. He is very proud of that fact, and you should be proud of yourselves for that as well. With that said, he just wanted to pass on Happy Veterans Day. We appreciate all the service, and we're all hearing a lot of words today, but one more thing he asks of everybody is to reach out to your fellow veterans, to soldiers that are on base. Make sure that they know we care, keep it up, and thank you. Happy Veterans Day.
From the Office of the Governor, Mike Dunleavy, Todd Smolden.
Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. The governor would like to be here today, but he does have another event that he is at, so he has asked me to come and say a few words for him and read his proclamation. And I guess I would just like to start with some thank yous. The governor would want to thank, of course, the work of Bert Cottle. And Mr. Hackett's words, thank you for those. Truly, this place wouldn't be here without his leadership. And so a big thank you to Bert and his family, prayers for his family. Also, he would like to also thank the young people who are here today. You are our future veterans, and you are the future defenders of our liberty and our freedoms, and it's important that you're here to honor veterans, but also to aspire to be great soldiers and those who serve our country so that we can keep the freedom that we have. He would like to thank all the employers who hire veterans, and that's so important that when that veterans feel valued, so not only through employment, but also through other ways that they can serve. And of course, our responsibility is to make sure that we are looking out for our veterans. So thank you for all of you who do that. And lastly, of course, he would like to thank the veterans. Alaska is the greatest state in the country. I don't think there's any argument about that. And it's one of the freest, and that's because of the work and the sacrifice of the veterans and their families. And so thank you from the governor for all of that. And with that, I'll go ahead and read his proclamation. Whereas our nation was built upon the belief that all citizens are guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas the freedoms we enjoy and values we hold dear as Americans do not come without sacrifice, so as our nation has experienced many conflicts, we must make the time to express our sincere gratitude to our veterans for preserving our rights and liberties and for fighting to protect the freedom of others. And whereas we celebrate our warriors on the 11th day of the 11th month in tribute to the temporary cessation of hostility in 1918 at 11 a.m., when the Allied powers and Germans signed the armistice that would end World War I, and 20 years later, this day would become a federally recognized holiday to celebrate all U.S. veterans involved in armed conflicts. And whereas we honor our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen and women, National Guard members, and reservists, as these remarkable individuals who helped to make us secure and have inspired our nation with their courage, compassion, and dedication. And whereas we are eternally indebted to our veterans for their remarkable and valiant service to the United States of America, and we will never forget their selfless allegiance and readiness to put their lives on the line to defend the freedoms of our democracy. And whereas on Veterans Day, we reflect on the immeasurable burdens endured by so many in the defense of so few, and dedicate ourselves to supporting those who have served our nation and the families who stood alongside them, including those who are still serving today and those who will serve in the future. Now, therefore, I, Mike Dunleavy, Governor of the State of Alaska, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2022 as Veterans and Remembrance Day in Alaska, and call on all Alaskans to honor our veterans for their service by participating in appropriate ceremonies and expressions of gratitude, encourage employers to provide job opportunities for those who serve, and applaud the incredible bravery of our veterans and members of the United States Armed Forces. Signed by the Governor on November 11, 2022. Thank you.
From the MatSu Borough and into Browse.
Good morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It really doesn't sound like a lot, but it's very heartfelt for all what you have done. As knowing personally, having family members serve, I know that not only the person serving, but also the families that have done sacrifices, and they in many ways are serving also. This is the Borough Proclamation. Whereas every year in November we come together to pay tribute to veterans, those who are serving as well as those who have served in the past. We pause to remember those veterans that have made the greatest sacrifice of all, the service to our country with the loss of their lives, and our prayers are with those families that have also suffered that loss, even greater than what we have. Whereas these men and women represent the character of our nation, true patriots willing to die and fight for and defend the freedoms that we are experiencing today. Whereas we owe a great debt to those who have served in the defense of the United States of America. Those great men and women deserve the recognition for their sacrifice. And again, thank you. Whereas their sacrifices have preserved our unique form of government, which is dedicated to human rights and respect for individual rights also. Therefore, in honor of these men and women whose spirit and determination reflect a sincere dedication to the principles of freedom and democracy. And recently also I did a proclamation honoring all of the veteran businesses in our community and in our borough. And hopefully many of you did take and patronize those businesses. And so I want to acknowledge that also. That I, Edna DeVries, Mayor of the MatSu Borough, urge all of our citizens to honor our veterans and join me in recognizing this day as Veterans Day, dated the 11th day of November 2022. Thank you.
For the City of Wasilla, Glenda Lefford.
Good morning, and thank you to all of our veterans. You know, those begin to sound like hollow words, but we are truly grateful because of your sacrifices that we live in the country we live in. Sacrifice, what is it? The definition of sacrifice is to surrender something for the sake of something else. Each individual who took the military oath of service chose their country above self. As members of the Armed Forces, veterans have had to make countless sacrifices. Veterans have given up being with their families, putting their lives on the line to protect our lives and our families. We gather here to honor the men and women who serve and who have served in the armed forces. In the words of Jeff Miller, the willingness of Americans, veterans who sacrifice for our country has earned them our lasting gratitude. I'm always and forever grateful to our veterans, past, present, and future, and I would like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt appreciation for their service and sacrifices. The proclamation from the City of Wasilla honoring Veterans Day. Whereas our great nation was founded on the belief that all Americans are created equal, that all Americans are guaranteed the inalienable right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed legislation proclaiming every November 11th as a day to honor all veterans of the United States Armed Forces. And whereas on Veterans Day, we honor the men and women who have answered the call to duty, selflessly sacrificing to serve our country and protect the rights of all Americans. And whereas Alaska joins the rest of our nation in recognizing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen who have valiantly defended American values throughout our country's history. And whereas we remember all who have given their lives in defense of freedom, and we promise to honor their memory, never taking our freedoms for granted. And whereas we thank our active duty military, reserve, Alaska National Guard service members who serve to defend our nation's founding ideals, protecting the innocent and liberating the oppressed from tyranny and terror. And whereas today we take the opportunity to show gratitude to our veterans and their family members who call Alaska home, as well as the men and women still serving in the armed forces around the globe. And whereas we are grateful for the efforts, the sacrifices, and the dedication to duty of our veterans and the men and women currently serving in the armed forces. Now therefore I, Glenda D. Lefford, Mayor of the City of Wasilla, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2022 as Veterans Day in Wasilla, and ask all to join me in recognizing our veterans and honoring their faithful service to our state and our nation, dated this 25th day of October, 2022. Again, thank you for your service.
For the City of Palmer, Pam Lee.
Good morning. It's truly an honor to be here amongst hallowed ground and to celebrate and to honor our veterans and those that have served, as well as those that continue to serve, and the families that support them. With that, I will read the City of Palmer's Declaration. Whereas Veterans Day, its origins in November 11th, 1918, armistice which brought World War I to conclusion, and whereas Alaska is home to approximately 75,000 military veterans who have served our nation honorably and selflessly, both at home and abroad, protecting the liberty of our nation and liberating the oppressed from tyranny and terror. And whereas Veterans Day is a time to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to uphold the nation's founding principles of liberty, opportunity, and justice for all. And whereas by honoring these proud soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard guardsmen throughout our country's history, we renew our commitment to upholding the democratic ideas that fought to preserve. And whereas the citizens of Palmer must never take for granted our privileges and freedom, or forget to give thanks and honor those who risk their lives so that they may enjoy our many blessings. Now therefore it is proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palmer, Alaska, November 11, 2022, to be Veterans Day in the City of Palmer. I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to join in this special observance and recognizing the great sacrifice of our veterans and active military members. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the sale of the City of Palmer to be affixed on this 25th day of October 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished guests. Next, I'm going to invite the J. Bear rep. Before that, I'm going to give you a quick bio here. So, Colonel Mike Fay. Colonel Mike Fay is the commander of the DoD-VA Joint Venture Hospital, Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska, the Alaskan Command Surgeon and Director of Defense Health Agency Alaska Region. He provides leadership and direction to 1,300 DoD and VA personnel across 6 squadrons, providing world-class health care to 159,000 Alaskan DoD and VA beneficiaries. With support from TRICARE and the Alaska Federal Healthcare Partnership, as an Alaskan Command Surgeon, he serves as the primary medical advisor to the Sub-Unified Commander. He also provides DHA market direction for all DoD medical treatment facilities in Alaska. Colonel Fay is native to Granite City, Illinois, and enlisted in the United States Air Force in September 1990 as an aerospace propulsion specialist. Colonel Fay honorably separated from the United States Air Force in '94, attended North Carolina State University, earning a Bachelor of Science degree, and re-entered the United States Air Force as a Direct Commissioned Officer in 1997. Colonel Fay has commanded at the group and squadron levels and served as both Joint Staff and Air Staff Action Officer. He is a licensed engineer and board certified as an industrial hygienist and Fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives. Colonel Fay has spent 23 years in the practice of preventative medicine supporting Air Force, Joint, and Coalition forces. Prior to his current assignment, Colonel Fay was the commander of the 51st Medical Group, Osan Air Base, Republic of Korea, and the 7th Air Force Surgeon General. Please welcome Colonel Fay.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for that, the kind introduction. It is absolutely an honor for myself, my wife Tricia, to be here. We've actually been in the state of Alaska since July of 2021, and it's been our honor to serve here. And so, I wanted to say thank you to our representatives from the Senator's and Governor's Office. Appreciate the declarations and for just sharing the wise words of our senators and governor. As well as an appreciation for our mayor of MatSu Borough, Edna DeVries. Thank you. Mayor of City of Wasilla, Glenda Ledford, and our deputy mayor for City of Palmer, Pam Bailey. Thank you so much for your declarations as well. It's great to see you here. And a special thanks to our VFW Post 9365 for this great ceremony and certainly honoring our nation's veterans. And especially, I want to welcome and honor
I acknowledge all the veterans in the audience and thank you for your service to our great nation. Now, as it was asked of me, Mike, would you come and say a few words? As I thought about this day in particular and just the hallowed day that it is, what came to mind was our Airman's Creed. And for those that have been in the Air Force, they know what it means. And for others, you may not know. But let me kind of start it off by kind of painting that background for you. But it simply says this: I am an airman. I'm an American airman. I am a warrior. I have answered my nation's call. I am an American airman. My mission is to fly, fight, and win. I am faithful to a tradition, a legacy of valor. I'm sorry. I am an American airman. My mission is to fly, fight, and win. I am faithful to a proud heritage, a tradition of honor, and a legacy of valor. I am an American airman, guardian of freedom and justice, my nation's sword and shield, its sentry and avenger. I defend my country with my life. I am an American airman, wingman, leader, warrior. I will never leave an airman behind. I will never falter, and I will not fail. And so when I thought about this and I thought about our Airman's Creed, I wanted to share with you just a few points today. And that is our opportunity to serve in the greatest nation of this world. Our opportunity to go out there and to leave a legacy. Our duty while we serve, and our purpose as we serve day in and day out. And so when we think about this, there are many reasons and many whys of why people come out and they join the military, right? And you think about it, every single person that has come and joined the military had a different reason for doing so. But throughout those various reasons, there's a thread that goes through all that says that service equals sacrifice. Doesn't matter if you served one day, one enlistment, or 30 years. When we think about that, you made that conscious decision to dedicate your life and the lives of your families for something that's even greater than ourselves. And in addition to that, we've also dedicated and basically said that we are proudly representing the uniform of our service in the service of our nation's military. You know, when we think about that, and especially for the United States Air Force, airmen will always be there to provide America with air power that it needs to defend the nation, to deter, and certainly to defeat aggression, to reassure our partners and our allies, and also to help diplomacy to proceed from a position of strength when needed. We are the world's greatest Air Force. Again, let me foot stomp that. We are the world's greatest Air Force. And the reason why we are the greatest is because of the veterans that came before us. And because of the pioneers who set that pace and allowed us to get to where we are today. I think of Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson. Captain Elmendorf was one of those pioneers. He was the one constantly pushing the envelope to get us to where we are today. You know, you might sit out there and say, well, hey, Mike, why is it that you joined the military? All right, and we have to kind of go back a little bit. As was talked about, the year was 1989. Kind of a ways ago, right? Noriega was still in charge of Panama. Saddam Hussein was still in Iraq trying to figure out how to pay for his 8-year war with Iran. The Soviet Union still existed at that time. And within the Air Force, the Strategic Air Command, Tactical Air Command, and Mobility Air Command, affectionately known as SAC, TAC, and MAC, were still in full force. That was the year that I looked and said, you know what, I'm going to join something bigger than myself. I had just come out of high school, was in my first year of college, and I went to my dad, who had served in the Army, and said, Dad, I know when I saw you wear the uniform how proud you were and how you were so faithful to that cause, and I said, I want to be a part of that as well. And so I took the ASVAB through the Army. I went and saw the recruiter for the Navy. And ultimately, you can see, neither one of them won. So I signed up on October 26, 1989 to come into the United States Air Force. And then I delayed enlisted for a year so I could go through my first year of college, coming in on active duty on the 5th of September, 1990. I remember a few weeks before I came in, my recruiter calling me and saying, Mike, Saddam Hussein has just come over the border of Kuwait. We think we're going to war. They said at this particular time, we think, because of what we're seeing in Congress, that there's going to be a reduction in force. So if you don't want to come in, now's the time to not come in. And I said, no, I signed up in peacetime. I'm coming in war. I said, I'm going to answer my nation's call. And so when we think about that, we think of why do people come in? It's because we have that calling. We think on Veterans Day, we gather here to recognize our Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard veterans who served both in war and peace to protect our homeland and the American way of life. But you know what? More than that, I want to thank the community, because JBEAR has enjoyed decades of support from Anchorage and from our communities, from Palmer, certainly Wasilla, and many others throughout these years that have allowed our mission to be successful and to allow our families to flourish as well. More than just the opportunity to serve, it's the legacy of serving. You see, we are here to honor the legacy and remain faithful to a proud heritage that our veterans paved the future for generations to come. Now, when I talk about heritage, I can talk about this from a family standpoint. Again, my father was in the Army. He was actually in the Army National Guard, and he served for 6 years. And as I said, I got to see him as a kid, where he was wearing the uniform as he was a 68 Whiskey, a medical technician within the Army. I still have the pleasure of serving on active duty this day after all these years. And even more so, and I say this because of all the children in the crowd, my son is Specialist Micah Fay. He's a field artilleryman stationed at Fort Campbell, associated with the 101st Airborne Division. So when I talk about heritage and when I talk about family, when I talk about the military, it's a family business. And so we think about that, and we think about that opportunity to serve and certainly the heritage that goes with it. But whether they wear the military uniform today or wore it decades ago, veterans represent unwavering dedication and exemplify the highest standard to serve our nation. Beyond just the opportunity to serve and certainly our legacy that we can leave behind us, it's the duty to serve, and in some cases the duty that we have to lay down our lives. And so whether you know this or not, men and women in uniform have and continue to be the best defense in any contingency against an enemy that wants to take our freedoms away. And I say this, how many of you remember what happened on September 11th? You probably remember the day that occurred, right? I do too. I was stationed down in San Antonio, Texas. And I remember those events very clearly because at 4:40 in the afternoon, I was given a phone call that said, go home, pack, come back at 5 o'clock, you're going to New York. I said, all right, I'll go home, I'll pack, I'll be back at 5 o'clock in the morning. They said, no, you don't understand. Go home, pack, and be back here in 20 minutes. I said, I live 20 minutes away. They said, you know what we mean. Go get your stuff back and get back here. I said, okay. So I went back. My wife, my son at the time, who was 1 year old, was in North Carolina visiting their family. I'm in Texas. I go home, the phone rings. I'm packing as quick as I can. I'm thinking it's my wife, Tracia. It wasn't. It was Mom. And so as my mother calls, I pick up the phone real quick. She says, Mike, I'm so glad to hear that you're safe. And I said, I am safe, Mom. And I'm kind of bouncing up and down. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to let you go. Well, why do I have to let you go? Mom, because I got to go up to New York. And of course, you can expect any mother's reaction to that. Mike, I don't want you going up there. I don't know what's going to happen. I said, Mom, I came in the military and I trained my entire life for this moment. I cannot sit on the bench when it's time to be in the game. When we think about duty, there are opportunities where we must be ready to go in. And when it's our time, we know it's our time. And so we went up there, we served for 10 days, we came back, and as we flew into Kelly Air Force Base, or the Kelly branch of Lackland Air Force Base at that particular time, Major General Rogers, who was our general officer, came on the bus. He said, we now know who the enemy is. This is when we got off our plane and got on the bus. He said, we now know who the enemy is. They should go home, do your laundry, and repack. So I did. 2 days later, I got orders. Operation Infinite Justice, which we know today as Enduring Freedom. Location, classified. And I started heading east to a bear base to set it up so that we could usher in a new era that did not have the Taliban and we could go after Osama bin Laden. And so we think about that duty. We think of the opportunity to serve, certainly the legacy, the duty that stands before us, but I'll say this as well. What is our purpose today? What is the purpose of the military today? It really revolves around everything that deals with readiness. And so past and present, we have been and are always ready to serve, as the threat today requires us to be ready for a near-peer competitor, whether it's warm weather or cold weather. One of our forefathers of the Air Force, General Henry Hap Arnold, said, "We must think in terms of tomorrow." And so I can tell you at J-Bear right now, we prepare and we're ready to go anywhere that our nation calls us to go to. But I can tell you, whether that's warm weather or cold weather, we're trying to get ready for it. So I can tell you, just within my hospital itself, we're pushing the envelope when it comes to Arctic medicine. Because my job is to save lives. It's to ease suffering. It's to get the warfighter back in the fight. And it's also to make sure that I can get our warriors back with their families eventually. We think about this. Ultimately, America is fortunate to have veterans who have exemplified commitment to duty by answering our nation's call, remaining faithful to a proud heritage, willingly displaying valor under fire as defenders of freedom and justice, and favoring humility over glory by always being ready. This notion of selflessness and sacrifice, the likes of which are exhibited each and every day by our airmen, guardians, soldiers, sailors, Marines, and Coast Guardmen, is the bedrock of an old volunteer force today. The veterans we honor in addition to today are part of our communities. And in fact, they're still serving, right? They're our teachers. They're our first responders. They're our medics. They're our neighbors. So to our veterans and our service members of all ages who have engaged in combat, stability, and humanitarian, we honor you. To those service members who paid the ultimate price, who are still missing or unaccounted for, we honor you by remembering the sacrifices you and your families made for our great nation. So today is both a day of honor and a day to honor. On this day of celebration and reflection, I thank everyone who has worn a U.S. military uniform for their honorable service and for our freedoms. Thank you.
We will now have our presentation of wreaths and remembrances. All presenters, please form a line to your right. When you approach the microphone, announce who you are presenting on behalf of and proceed to the wall to place your symbol of remembrance. Please note, we ask that if you want to keep your remembrance, please recover it after today's ceremony, because once it becomes unappealing, we will remove it and dispose of it.
Mayor for the City of Warsaw and the offices of the U.S. Senators.
On behalf of the Cossack family, thank you, vets.
On behalf of Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 9365.
In remembrance of Carl W. Caswell. On behalf of my family and also the American Legion family from Marcella. On behalf of Edwards Ladies Auxiliary and the Sons of Edwards Bush Love.
Kelly Chewbacca to prevent veteran suicide.
Tyler Hall, Commander MBATS 11. Thank you everybody for coming.
Cigna Auxiliary, DFW Post 9365.
This is behalf of all of the residents of the MatSu Borough, but I also have some other people along with them introduced. Our borough happens to have two of our top administrators here, both our borough manager and our deputy manager, as well as the head of our emergency services that have all served, and we're very thankful for what they do for our community every day.
Yes, on behalf of the Alaska State Senate and the Alaska State
Thank you to all the veterans and their family on behalf of the Alaska State House and the MatSu delegation.
Upstairs, Mayor Phillips.
The MatSu Veterans Foundation.
Alaska State Council for Vietnam Veterans of America honor our fallen comrades and all of the veterans that has made America a great nation that it is today. Thank you.
As a reminder, all the veterans organizations will be hosting open post activities today. So please stop in, think a vet, enjoy some food, camaraderie, and if you're eligible, consider joining one of these fine service organizations. The following are also mentioned in your program booklet, but I want to thank each of them out loud in your presence. Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 9365, American Legion, Post 35, American Legion, Post 15, American Veterans, Post 9, American Veterans, Post 11, Wasilla City Council, Wasilla High School, JRTC, Scout Troop 300, Cub Scout Pack 360 and 359. Now, if you would, please rise and remain standing for our closing portion of today's ceremony. Please join us in singing God Bless America. To invite our chaplain back to the podium to provide our benediction.
If you would uncover. If you please join me in prayer. Almighty God, we thank you for the oversight and protection during today's ceremony. We ask that you watch over all those in attendance and as they complete their travels throughout the day, and those who could not attend due to other commitments. Please, Lord, provide solitude and protection to all those who may feel the weight of loss today, and comfort them during their time of pain and grief. Finally, we ask your blessing and guidance to assist in us finding kindness, providing support to those in need, and respect for our fellow man. In your name we humbly pray. Amen.
Amen.
This concludes our ceremony. Thank you all for your support and attendance, truly. It's much appreciated. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you all for being here today. If you haven't liked and shared this video, please take a moment to do that now. I'm going to take a quick second and go ahead and walk around the memorial up ahead. Again, thank you all for being here, and it's been a beautiful Memorial Veterans Day ceremony today. I'm glad I could be here. I always look up on this day to my dad in the sky and thank him for his service. It was because of his ultimate sacrifice, one of many, that we have the freedoms that we have today. This day always has a special meaning to me. It hurts a little bit more than most.
Don't forget to take your wreaths. You want to take those back. Also, somebody dropped a patch. Looks like a Navy USS Nimitz pouch. If you lost this, it's up here at the podium.
Never come out here to the MatSu Valley. It's just off of KGB Road. You would make, instead of turning on KGB, you would turn on Main Street. Right where the police station is. again, thank you all for being here today. It was a beautiful Veterans Day ceremony here in MatSu Valley at the Wall of Honor. Thank you all for being here. Please like and share. Greatly appreciate it. You guys all have yourself a wonderful Veterans Day.